Mieve was discussing some matter with Gascon when a scout approached. His blood-streaked uniform revealed the matter to be urgent, so the Queen cut short her conversation and requested a report.
We were scouting, milady, and we found a cave entrance. Small scattering of elves guarding it, but we took them right out.
Gascon scratched his chin.
I'd wager 10 Novigrad crowns there are more Scoia'tael squirreled away inside. We strike afore they know we've snuffed out their guards, we might well catch them by surprise. But we must act quickly.
Then let us act. Gather some men and prepare them for an attack. But keep quiet.
The Lyrians crept into the cave. They moved carefully, noiselessly even, avoiding notice for quite a while. Nevertheless, elven warriors soon came pouring out of a side cavern.
Tuan!
Catch!
Oh, my little A.
I shall not fail!
Nothing personal, I assure you.
None shall tread on us! Now we will see who is weak!
They're not backing down! Must be something of value to them here!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
This is elven land, Dwarf, upon which your kind dies.
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Hey, Admiral and ship.
Oh, no.
I shall not fail!
To humans!
None shall tread on us!
Oh, my little lady.
I'll fight to my last breath. Now we will see who is weak.
I smell a leak.
Ah!
Tell me you jest.
You mad? Don't say that!
What do you want of me?
Hey? Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth? I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Oh my.
Death to Old One!
Oh, my little lady.
Ah!
Wow.
We ought to help one or the other.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
This is elven land, Dwarf, upon which your kind dies.
Thing about slings, they hide well. Hey?
Discipline shall bring us victory! Getting to work. They resisted to the very end.
When the Lyrians broke the elven ranks, Meve was convinced their foe would retreat and regroup. But to her surprise, the Scoia'tael fought to the bitter end. She concluded there must have been something truly valuable hidden in that cave. As Meve entered the next chamber, her nose caught the stink of blood, pus, and urine. Then she understood. The elves were using the cave as a field hospital. Wounded fighters lay by the cavern walls. They made no attempt to defend themselves, nor to beg, nor to make peace with the gods. They merely watched the Lyrians calmly, with stark contempt.
Milady,
Whispered Rayla.
you saw what the Scoia'tael are capable of. What they do to humans. They would have no mercy for...
Reynard, usually calm, could not hold back and cut Rayla off.
What, pray, do you suggest? That we murder the wounded?
The warrior responded in a whisper, slowly emphasizing her words.
I suggest you leave. Leave me and my men. We'll take care of the rest.
Meve looked the warrior in the eyes, and was terrified by what she saw.
No, Rayla. We shall not touch them. Do you understand?
Rayla was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she nodded and left the cave. Reynard followed her with his gaze, hand on hilt.
Reynard, listen to me. You are to keep a close watch on Rayla until we are at least a day's ride from this cave. If she separates from the column, if she tries to double back, I wish to hear about it. Do you understand?
Reynard nodded. Despite the day's victory, they left the cave in a somber mood.
Have we not passed this way before?
Scouts say no, Your Grace. They mark the trees.
Elves could have erased the marks, or left new ones where we've yet to tread. Best to follow the sun. Only way not to lose your bearings.
Meve's path took her to the village of Iconfurt. Unlike most settlements in the area, not a single human dwelled here. Instead, only elves and dwarves sat on its porches and stared at the passing Lyrians with clear aversion. Not a single greeting was extended to their allies in arms. Not a single peddler tried to hawk their wares. The only sound was that of snapping shutters and slamming doors.
Something's amiss,
Rayla said, furrowing her brow.
Order a halt, my lady, and give me a moment to look around.
You've a quarter of an hour.
Meve said as she dismounted.
And not a moment more.
The Queen sat in the shade of a large pear tree. She shut her eyes and listened to the chirping of crickets in the grass, savoring a rare moment of relaxation. But the calm did not last. Within moments, one of her scouts returned, a certain Sergeant Niedermere. Tears streamed down his weathered, scar-pocked face.
Lady, come with us, please. You'll need to see this for yourself.
The sergeant led her to the still smouldering remains of a mill. Her soldiers were picking things out from the ashes. When she got closer, she realized in horror they were human skulls, some no larger than apples.
Tell the villagers to gather by the well,
the Queen said in a strained voice.
Or be executed.
The elves and dwarves attempted no denials. They admitted Eldane and his Scoia'tael had helped them round up all the humans in their village, march them into the mill, then set it aflame.
They stole our lands, defiled our names, beat us, murdered us in bloodthirsty pogroms,
shouted one of the dwarves.
They had it coming to them. Got their comeuppance, I'd say.
Meve was no stranger to the cruelty of war, but the enormous evil she found in Iconfurt overwhelmed her. She felt a terrible weight on her chest, found it hard to draw breath, and her head spun. She felt she could hear the cries of humans being burned alive.
Ma'am,
whispered Reynard.
You must pronounce something.
Or simply turn the matter over to me, Your Grace.
Rayla interrupted.
I know what to do.
You know what you deserve,
Meve said.
But my soldiers are neither murderers nor executioners, and you are not my subjects. So I shall have you escorted to Rosberg. Let the authorities there mete out justice. With a noose, I hope.
The Queen chose a dozen soldiers and tasked them with seeing the non-humans of Iconfurt tried by an Edirnian judge. In doing so, she weakened her forces, but saved herself and her Lyrians from having to carry out a bloody sentence by their own hand.
What was that?
Meve asked Reynard, who rode beside her.
A scream. A man's, I think.
Need to investigate. Gather a few men and we ride. Quickly!
The screaming came from a small settlement. When Meve rode up to its farmhouses, her horse reared and neighed in terror. Necrophages swarmed all around. The monsters surrounded a few Nilfgaardians who were trying, with no success, to chase them off with torches. Reynard swept his gaze over the carnage and said,
They cannot stave them off, and their armor is too heavy for them to flee.
Meve was uncertain at first how to act. But when she saw ghouls snatch one of the Nilfgaardians and rip him to shreds, she drew her sword.
No one deserves such a death. Not even a Nilfgaardian. Follow me! Lower your weapons! We're here to rescue you!
This evil I shall trample out, root and branch!
This could hurt.
Well, why do you help us?
Enough chit-chat. Draw your weapon.
Watch your heads!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Let the ghouls eat them, I say!
Silence! The Queen has made her decision.
Eh? Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
We'll catch 'em all!
It worked, Your Grace. The monsters flee.
The Lyrians and the Nilfgaardians fought the monsters side by side, a united force. But when the last necrophage fell, the soldiers immediately returned to their respective divisions. Meave's soldiers looked at the invaders askance, uncertain what would happen next. Suddenly, one of the Nilfgaardians broke ranks and fell to his knees.
Your Grace, I know you have no reason to trust us, but we are not enemies. We hail from Geisor, a land Nilfgaard conquered and made its province. We did not ask to fight in this war by force. We were conscripted.
The soldier hefted his sword by the blade and handed it, hilt first, to the Queen.
We yearned for a way to desert, and we have found it. Your Grace, allow us to join your army. We long for the Empire's defeat every bit as much as you do.
Meave helped the kneeling soldier to his feet.
The enemy of Nilfgaard is my friend, no matter who he is or whence he hail.
The Lyrians were clearly displeased with their queen's decision. The black-clad deserters from Geisor would need to earn their trust. Meave was riding at the head of the caravan when Black Rayla rode up and leaned towards her. She spoke in a whisper, a hand shielding her mouth.
Your Grace, I've something important to tell you. Yet you can't show anything's amiss. Look straight ahead. Make no sudden moves.
Meave nodded slightly and waited for her to continue.
Scoia'tael scouts in the woods, watching us. Eldain's near here somewhere, preparing his attack.
So what do you propose?
Asked the Queen, her gaze fixed on the road ahead.
Let him catch us out in the open. We're sitting ducks. But there are ruins nearby, an elven cemetery. We can find cover behind its walls.
Meave was accustomed to discussing important decisions with all her advisors, but she knew there was no time for consultation now. She had to trust Black Rayla's advice, and so without further delay issued the appropriate orders. Meave's retinue reached the cemetery before dusk. Her soldiers knocked down the marble statuary and piled them into barricades, while scouts took up positions outside the walls to watch for the foe's approach. When the sun set, the woods exhaled the heat of the day, and a thick fog soon arose. Out of the mist stepped Reynard's scouts, bound and pushed forward by elves. One of the Scoia'tael, a sturdy elf with long hair, stood by the cemetery wall and cried,
I am Eldain. I would speak to Meave.
I am she. Speak.
Cadmil en Kedva Genvid Rena. This place is of great import to us, the Enshe. I would tell you of its monuments, of the weeping Ensevern, carved by 3 generations of sculptors, or of the alabaster relief of King Kelad, so beautiful even the birds would gather to admire it. But I see your men have found our memorials, and, in the way of Dwan, destroyed them without a second thought. I cannot say this comes as a surprise. You've already shown the gods molded you from the basest of matter.
Get to the point, Eldain.
So I shall. As you certainly know, the necropolis is surrounded. Soon there shall be a battle, but it is unseemly to fight in a cemetery. So I ask you to come out into the open.
And surrender our tactical advantage.
I suspected a matter so impractical as respecting the dead would mean nothing to you, Dwan. So I submit one more argument. The lives of the soldiers you sent to spy. If you leave the cemetery, I shall set them free. They will fight at your side. If not, I shall kill them, here and now.
Milady, don't listen to him. He can't be trusted.
Rayla, those are good men. Fabian, Gerrit, Matthias, they've served me for a decade. They'd crawl through 7 hells for their queen. They do not deserve such a death.
I accept your conditions.
Your Grace, I beg you.
Soldiers! We march into the field!
Eldain clasped his hands in thanks. Then, in a swift, almost careless movement, slit the throat of the scout standing nearest to him.
You should have listened to Rayla, Your Grace. We elves truly cannot be trusted. Spala!
I warned you. Now we've lost the advantage.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. I take full responsibility.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Show me the coin or sod off.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Catch!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Peace with humans? I buy that! I'll fight to my last breath.
I was hoping you'd say that.
My pain serves a purpose.
Hey?
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
I smell a leak.
None shall tread on us!
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
Now we will see who is weak.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
Onward, Fryhead!
Blätter! Beaner!
After a long, bloody battle, Eldane's unit was destroyed, and Eldane himself sat at Meave's feet, defeated and dying.
To die in a cemetery. Something amusing in it, wouldn't you say?
I am surprised you are in the mood for humor.
All my tears I shed years ago. My family, killed in a massacre aimed at eradicating our race. Senseless. Utterly senseless. Reyna, we have lost. Me, my Scoia'tael, the Enshe. We shall vanish from this earth. Your grandchildren will know us in fairy tales only. I know I deceived you, but lay my bones to rest in a grave. Let me part this world with dignity. Ager Dregared.
Oh, please! How dare he? Look, he laughs, Your Grace! This dog should rot in an open field. Need I mention the willow? The many strung from it? The many burned alive?
So be it. I shall lay you in a tomb.
Your Grace! How can you justify this? A cutthroat, a murderer!
As are you, Rayla. As am I. For centuries we fight, kill one another, shed blood for bloodshed, attack and counterattack, each act more cruel and bloody than the last. The cycle ends now. What was done I cannot undo. But I can do this. Grant a dying soul dignity.
Thank you. Vathea, Rena.
Black Rayla stormed off, shoving her way through the gathered men. Meave paid her no heed. The soldiers laid Eldane's remains in an empty crypt. The rest of the Scoia'tael they buried in a pit near the edge of the woods. The next morning, at dawn's first light, the Lyrians marched off, eager to leave the Moulder Wood behind.